94.7 Asempa FM, so only 14 minutes after 2. Live from our national studios at 355 Fanofa Street in Kokomlemle, Accra. Ma emphasize that Stronko Emma Muninara, somebody Fidieno Atoha. From now till 6:30 p.m., it's our duty and pleasure to bring you Ghana's biggest and the most authoritative political, social, and current affairs talk show. Meridio Saibonsu from Yobi. Ma Minna production team no ase. Yawo Dominic Kisi Yaboa, Nana Chum Berema, Jackson Osei Intiamoa, Eric Opare, Bebre friend with DJ Yayo, and a Queen Star. A Japan. Oma hine kwabana sante enso boy ne chidom papa bibi obi a chia na ewie yet na say 6:30 p.m. and dwumedi na ba wie. So in the next 4 hours 30 minutes it's our duty and pleasure to serve you and serve you well. Tuesday afternoon, the 24th day of May 2022. Many thanks to our sponsor, Sagbeve Herbal Center, Uniat Practical Institute, Irata Motors, Compute Ghana, JB Powerplex Herbal, Cocoa Milk, Obapa Product, EcoBank Ghana, Rocksters Roofing Systems, OMV and Sons Limited, Asaplas Destination, Sasem Pharmaceuticals, CBG, also we stand with you, Seahorse Engine Oil, Bale Beverages, Franco Trading Enterprise, Dependable Herbal, and Imaros Limited. And you may quite Ekosiisen. We have a lot coming up this Tuesday afternoon. Yes, for the rest of this week, we would focus a bit more on the upcoming NPP regional elections. Now, Udim said, party delegates in the various regions will go to the poll this weekend from Friday through Saturday to Sunday. Enra, me go through the list of the venues. Any data region be abetonedi edemamo. And then what we want to do, they say, I will be telling you who are standing for which position in the various regions. Now, officially, when we list, so you know, for example, in the Greater Accra region, Nipa saying the regional chairmanship, why women organizer, why youth organizer, we have that list official, may go through at the Amamo. Here some of the aspirants will come through the studios. Not anyone, Etumi, Eddie, and Komo. Of course, Greater Accra aspirants maybe will be passing through, and we'll try as much as possible. So throughout the week, would make time for a lot of them, as many as possible. When one will be passing through, anyone ABD and Como, so you know who you would vote for going into this particular election. But even before we get into all of that, the Mobile Parliament, when you say any parliamentary resume is certain. Now, some interesting issues are basso and as are also on the floor. One of them, and it's the minority pushy say Land and Natural Resources Minister Emra before the House to answer questions relative to Achimota Forest and Sama Akosuyane, number one. Number two, Privileges Committee in Parliament, and so when him say Ebeto just say members of Parliament Miensa, Kennedy Ohine Japan, Henry Korte, and Ajwa Safo. Were all referred to the Privileges Committee to come and give reasons why one co-parliament in the Osha parliamentary sittings consecutively for more than 15 days. So we are Sadi and Awatumra our parliament. They were referred to the Privileges Committee. Yeah, can say data committee no Asia one ababa betuja. Eye dabenya yebedi hon enkomo. Ajwa Safo Obeba anase Oma will tell you what we know and the area Ekosiisen. You just have to keep it locked here on Asempa FM. Na yemfa details ninyina emremo. One of the big stories is why you follow up. Ochina will get you details of that. Efa Asante Dwabe. When is Asante Dwabe? As we speak, Omuni MCE. Na the reason why Omon Sanka MCE ye wo details nyame adoma ochina oman hene kwabena Asante ekra information ni exclusive aye de bremo Asante Dwabe why omuni MC very very interesting reasons ochina ye mo be cheni nyina mame nkwa homa no na minni nkomo we emra me ba then we get into the NPP regional elections. Kwesi Parker Wilson, a parliamentary affairs correspondent. Parker, akwa about saying.
Please, I'm here to make an announcement.
Nyame adom ye ho ye papa. Na ene what has been happening then akoso parliament?
Oh, and then, make us over a parliament. Issues are also a concerns being raised by members of parliament. In fact, the speaker came about asset declaration matter. Na or share a MP in assets. Omombo Homodin, no be and declare the asset. Na wa also file or tax returns and also some of the FOS. Now, this particular meeting, the members of parliament, the executive, and the OBDI are also holding accountable, holding this person accountable. Now, parliament, between ISI number with then also parliament in Nankasa, one more so a year transparent. Now, Ghana for and the amount for him say, almost so no, and they have the right to hold the executive accountable. Or science account the issue of a year double salary once over years gone by, a year MPs need to get double salary. Or no, we make sure say there are system in place. Why would you want to listen or so? Why would the Kediano or no speaker Abambabin or better say, which yes I can. Because in fact the impact and from my MP. It will be there. Meeting was our listed as one say they are starting from those meeting or when they will go up when then they are who bet me cheers as canon. Now for parliament or my image now after for parliamentarians so me for democrat na sabi my faculty can be so and the Ghana for sika and go bottom. Now how na this we speaker of parliament the welcome address to MP and are already are concerned. Now, the minority leader, higher than this, one also air Casano, and also by a Casa declaration, and they will say equally a bino a public inquiry into a Achimota Forest now, Yakikase, the torn part of it, because Omontias here, say Achimota Forest, a year of my another Kokufado, and in a pine, a beton a year portion of it. And it's one of the Pepe Obey Jumadia and the Osab Bino Nimenia was setting up a public inquiry. Now, almost call a year at Sumata Forest in Canada. So now, I make us a majority leader, such as Abons, one also Katai. Now, no, none of the say, as a declaration, and ma a year the special prosecutor, that's all more than no, a queen momu who no me is an insurance position in the law, an insurance provision. And notice and Kebeya or Sanka, Omutina Monday, Senabeya Sanka, who will be a public officer. Then also a car, you don't actually over your car, Sena, the same to the Sana man or no, or say, James Abos, a cassette, or say, a bino, and I saw mining in a Jimmy Eshe, Nafi or amend the law, no, Senabeya, be very, very effective, and I buy it. Now, one more thing, speaker can say, MPs, a court ruling. But speaker say, we what test, we follow a court rulings are a year implications to be a MPs. Now, all they say going forward, or engage academia, or engage a year intellectual to interpret a year some of the rulings of the court. Senabeya, the Biabatina one. Now, when a chairman I want to say, no. Start moving on. I say, instead of Koye Mana Papa, onim academia for no, onim intellectuals no. But Odidi say, Omwa, yadi omoba on board no. Omo member interpreti a year court ruling no in a certain partisan line that will favor one particular party. The banner sadia, a yadia one penny. It's in a way in Sambia Costo, our parliament in the way.
Now on asset declaration, where did it come from? A speaker no welcome address now or hint and not say na a border because a year who say fourth estate issue another story say apparently Sir John, upon becoming Forestry Commission CEO, no, and you declare the asset. Is that what brought about our conversation over Parliament?
Speaker no answer at the frontier or raise the issue of asset declaration. The Parliament starts almost there and access almost call recessor. Speaker, a man a welcome address, and I saw more and this one or the closing remarks. Into the Yasha and the Speaker welcome address and I said anyone. Now make your frontier says here. Speaker concerns particularly ASA. Parliament will hold the executive accountable. It is only to me I without any concerns about MPs transparent. You see, he will cause for equity must come with clean hands.
Yeah.
It is why we MP now will hold the executive accountable. Besides, say, oh, backyard no, be a cost come out here. It for them to effectively execute the accountability job no. I was say first or shall say Parliament. The MPB are a good declare as a why when you no for ye. Why won't follow tax returns no for ye. It is BBR a negative image and a negative attraction ever be Parliament in a day or share MPs because this meeting accountability aspect of parliamentary job no. It really was the main thrust of the Speaker of Parliament about Bobby Concern and Nunchi Oma or can't say MPs no more than Sabako declare
Set. Okay. And you say apart from Sir John the now bar on the floor, minority for be calling for a probe into Achimota Forest Neoma Akoswo Hunyana. Privileges Committee in so Akasa. Almost a day.
Obi, always a year 3 NPP MPT, you did chat. Now, every point in time, I will say I made you for home near airport. Speaker, yeah, call recess somewhere 1st week of April. He was clear, say, 2 weeks upon resumption of Parliament. Privileges Committee, I'm submitting on my report before the plenary for consideration. And then I'm saying, check as to whether a privileges committee almost share and almost share it. They call the privileges committee for office work. When a clerk name couldn't come out, clerk to the committee couldn't come out. Now, Ochem will say, Oyamia Motina committee in best classic. Now, I'm sure modality to know on how I'm being invited a year MP to know. Now, the response is I am the papa because now, as I was or the information is me. The contacted chairman and I'm contacted a year ranking. Now, I'm in charge of ranking in that German. Ranking here, which is Kuhiga. One and a ranking member on the privileges committee. Now, one on the children who say, and now say MPs no call research in it to know. It be much to coin a big constituency. It be a quite almost election. In the to me, share as a group. It is a normal banner. And me are the more China. For the first time after a year, speak at the directive, the privileges committee will meet tomorrow. Now tomorrow, and the fashion out a year modality for a year or more inquiry into the absence of a 3 NPP MPs. Now, Ochile Muse, Nidi kind a year can report it. In fact, Omachok Kata the Kakomano said he should appear before the committee Yamia Doma Thursday into Ochineti, Henry Coty, the Greater Accra Regional Minister. Menokasa or Chairman here. He will appear before a year committee, now or appear or be justify at the frontier for 15 sittings, one by Parliament. Committee Betino, Omutina, recommendation, normally at 4. Samson, a year double cabinet MP, Sarah Adrasafo. One no be share committee no Yamia Doma, a year Isiada. Into Henry Coty, Dabaman Thursday, na Adrasafo Abba, a year Friday. The following week, which is next week Tuesday, in fact, and the week Pepe, a year Kennedy or Henry Japan. One also so a year committee. Now, I'm sure say Ebi agriculture dia Kennedy o last and
Paka. Minim baby awujina. There is some terrible noise being the line. Maybe I was see a sign free will be. Let's call him back now. Yenshen trust a very important information and my FA privileges committee settings and my main straight here for that terrible sound in the line. And the essential working lines we be Parker Wilson na yeneno atwaso edin. Let me also remind you sir, the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry and Nkomo issue 2 statement Bakon trying to explain the processes from 1921 when the original acquisition of Achimota Forest was done up until Enne buying reclassify some portions of the forest at the Emma Owu family back, and most importantly how government arrived at 361.50 acres Omudema Owu family in the first statement about 10 pages and no extra. And there's also a second statement only a short about 2 pages and no buying taking some decisions to stop the acquisition of some part of the forest ne Ramsar site a war the alleged Sir John Whale nim any ade ade they no so a statement ameba so na mababa be kan amamo paga
Obi emuye
yeah, I think it's better now.
Okay. Eti na me kase yes nipa miensa no Kennedy ohine Japan wono na edeba last nyamiadoma next week Tuesday na nchemune ne se wakasa no honfa no nchobetu kwan akwa for stand ho yare na obeba Ghana hopefully 29th 30th day about nzanke be ya committee for no enfa no kwechiri anaso be last person enunti na committee ne hye se saade okakosa no ya ya ma no kam na kosa no ya na manaba
Okay,
so ba na ono ababe the last person into that Tuesday one be share a committee na say no so me also kan no so akan na if you are then committee will now put together a report na yami aduma next week Friday. That is the deadline as speaker in the mama. It's by next week Friday on the submit on a report to the plenary for consideration. Now they are hoping say we'll be there we inviting no for 3 MPs now. There were another invitation. In fact, Richard Hagan was clear, said we'll be there one baby no a contempt of parliament.
Ekosiisen
on the show reporting we said the said MP is regarded a standing committee of parliament. And no the speaker no sa akunyana obetime declare the seat vacant because one fabu ama speaker no and mind you the privilege is na across the high court no. It's a high court for na sawamba is in contempt we preach eye embrano and no and man no beti say yes na mano ka say there we take and say a Joasafo and Cantrom Sawoma and no one day na me adma Friday or expect to say that the Cabinet MP appears before a year committee.
But from what our checks and also in the house when you any information be as to say Obeba and I say Oma, do you know of anything?
The colleagues in so about so about the main MPs in the Kasai from both sides. I was almost there. I joined from a call. And so Obabo, so Ombo, but since that privilege is not command, I also update before them on Friday. It would be on one interest, in her own interest, say, Obey appear, now say, the BBA see the point. I went to me, Amber Parliament, Amber Energy, Masani, Sani Fatano, or bet them at the committee. Now, committee, and so they also more can on my casa. The committee, no Casadia, almost on my ready. I am Thursday on the share a Yumidi Master, said the Bio Hobiano, on make it for it. Now, one of the things are almost whether I'm sitting on any public and I sent in camera.
Any in camera, okay.
Richard say one of them go pa and any public because a public interest. MPs no represent constituent. Na constituent so mu the frontier MPs and represent within that period no me absent no. But however, the committee as a whole no will consider that any in camera na say any public. It's the privilege committee no be samia na ehwasem no.
Okay. Paka, my nase, bibi any ebe san so di nkomo bio. Why? Yeah, that's pa. Kwesi Paka Wilson, parliamentary affairs correspondent and Motesi and no AD nkomo. Enti yebehwe ya toa so I told you about the statement from the Land and Natural Resources Ministry. First one I kind dated 24th, which is today. Also press release, Achimota Forest. Kwejo Owusu Efrie's alleged last will and testament. Medical Casa we need 2 pages. The second one now a chronicle development since 1921 near 10 pages. In the end, wadodo into me and kind. But I would read this one. Where the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources refers to its press statement dated 22nd May 2022, in which the ministry committed to inquire into the allegations relating to the acquisition of parcels of land at the Achimota Forest and the Sakomono Ramsar site by the late former CEO of the Forestry Commission, Kwejo Owusu Sir John. Preliminary inquiries reveal that the alleged will in question is a subject matter of litigation or contestation in the courts. Further checks at the Land and Forestry Commissions, the repositories of the records of the land in question, show no record of ownership of land at the Achimota Forest or the Sakomono Ramsar site by the late Kwejo Owusu Efrie. That said, given the totality of the circumstances of the said allegations, I, as Minister of Land and Natural Resources, have directed the Land and Forestry Commissions to deem any ownership of land both in the Achimota Forest and the Sakomono Ramsar site by the late Kwejo Owusu Efrie as void and are to take the appropriate actions accordingly. For the avoidance of doubt, the bequeathing of the aforesaid land, if established, will not pass any interest or title to the named beneficiaries in the alleged will. These lands, the subject matter of the alleged will, shall remain public land, whether or not it falls within the degazetted land pursuant to EI 144. Government will act on any improper acquisition of any public land, regardless of how it was procured, whether now or in the past, and the Achimota Forest land will not be an exception. Signed, Honorable Samuel A. Jinapo, MP, and a minister in charge of the sector. That's the statement I no pay a buy. Inti tiewamuano aban echiremua se asasi bi obi di ahye ne wheel mu se ode ma ne nuanom ne ma ne wofa asenom ne adena eye aban asase nko ade yes aban ede ne nsa ayeden atoto na in fact statement we echiremu a ministries o mo ye checks ewo land commission and of forestry commission o mo hu se asase bia ni ho ena Ramsar site e wo Sakomono no so bia ni ho a ewo Kwejo Owusu Efrie edimu, you know. But as I kind will no so I won ne ka say yes ba kono part of the land ne dey Kwejo Owusu Efrie and Charles Owusu no mo say omo ye owners. But there are two being so no in the name of companies be belonging to him. You know, into I don't know say companies no company bia nso din ni ho no nso ewoni asase ho na say to saying those are some of the further questions ye behwe na yetime ebusa ba me nkwa homa no so na yeni nkomo na yenje the was already the minority NDC in parliament akasa say omode ebe ya anka yenye nhwehwemu a public probe into Achimota Forest in sensem yi enyina. But what's the position of the party? The National Democratic Congress, Communications Officer of the party, lawyer Sammy Gyamfi. Sammy, akwaba na pom to saying.
Minya Josu nya media chair ahode wo ho.
Yɛda nyame ase enti meyere sɛ nkɔmmɔ a akɔ so over the past 2-3 days no mo as a political party no mo ani edi akyire officially mo position ɛwɔ saa nkɔmmɔ yi ho Achimota Forest any alleged whale belonging to Sir John ne ade no ɛte mo sɛn
Yo, obi me da se. Me di kan ma menchia Ghana District Konkron a mutie udumadi. As a party, yɛde ani adi saa Achimota Forest Reserve same way ho chi ye pa na ɛyɛ ade ɛyɛ asefem na ɛyɛ yareho sɛ ɔman Ghana yɛgyapadeɛ kɛseɛ saa ɛyɛ kwae a yɛahyɛ da akyekyere ɛfiri Kwasi Bruni colonial government pencil from 1927 ABC nne na yɛ nananom yɛmpanyinfoɔ aban ahodoɔ a abɛnyina abɛbɔ ho ban no mpimprin ɛkame akɔyɛ sɛ nipa binom pɛ sɛ ɔmo ɛkyɛ saa asase no ɛfa asefem because sɛ yɛto abɛyiw sɛ bedi ɔman so anaasɛ sɛ yɛpaw sɛ bɛhwɛ ɔman agyapadeɛ so a wasɛdeɛ ne sɛ wobɔ agyapadeɛ no ho man ɛma ɔman no ani nkyirima ɛyɛ wrong sɛ wobɛyisu dibrɛ n'ani tumi na yɛde ama wo no na wode apre afom asesa ɔman no agyapadeɛ de ayɛ wo ne wabusua ɛho yie yɛwura kwadwo owusu afiri a dodoɔ no afrɛ no sɛ John yɛnim nipa and na yɛ fa ɛda ɔno ne yɛ party nti ɛyɛ kama because yɛn nyinaa yɛ politicians yɛnim sɛ ansa na onyame to ne nsa afrɛ no no ɔmampanyia Kufuado ɛpaw no yɛ no baa no dani ma asoɔyɛ a ɔmo de hwɛ Ghana kwae nyinaa so Forestry Commission ɛno nti ne will a aba bɛtɔ abɔnten na yɛhu sɛ Achimota Forest Reserve yi a ɛho asɛm abɛi ɛmu nsase yɛtwitwa bibi ama anaa ɔno se saa nsase no ɔwɔ bebree acres wei a ɛwɔ companies a ɛyɛ ɔno ankasa ne dea na ɔde ma ne wɔfa aseɛ no ne n'abusuafoɔ no sɛ asefem awerɛho na abufu because ɛyɛ totally wrong sɛ woyɛ Banodemima Forestry Commission wo na broni sɛ woyɛ custodian of all forest reserves in Ghana ɛno nti ne yɛafa wo a yɛtua wo nka na yɛde sɛ adwuma no ahyɛ wo nsa na wobɛyisu saa diberɛ no instead of protecting that forest reserve no wo ba be yisu na wode afom forest reserve ne nsa ase na wode ama wabusua enye saa ene ebu oman ye nananom Kwame Nkrumah nom echampo nom bae no mo ye ne saa enka ye man meto forest reserve ye nkai so hu se ye ka forest reserve wansem a obi eye nipa nkwa wansem ne ye ka no obi a oni bia o science mu kakra bi ni me study environmental science as my first degree, so I know the importance of a forest reserve or green vegetation. Anya hwekra no you go school you say if the last tree dies the last man dies. That is how important trees, green vegetation, forest reserve are to human lives. And the abroche krobi no wo so a ukona ukotwa bia to twena ye titi ti set ya wakum nipa no. Even South Africa here pokura no ntimi nkotwa bia antontwene because they know the importance of their green cover. Eyesa kwaye no ena nkraya ya tia factories cars ne nyama obu produce pollutants e won frama ye home ba ye mu no eyesa kwaye ni nwie ena so ne frama no so making sure that ye home yakoye mu no ye be ye frama papa oxygen papa na de be ba abonten na enye no so no Viano de Ayeguma. Ama Swaba from Kama. So forest reserve here. A sacred ground. So what for FIFA now the way they was we any brave for person the community numbers of four or my Japadia Yanfanko.
Yeah, but Sammy, to be fair and for me for specifics sake in tea, say okay the whale I make you round now and can forest reserve, a can Achimota Forest. I think we should draw that distinction.
There is nothing like Achimota Forest and Achimota Forest Reserve. That's but
that is what is in the whale.
But Achimota Forest is the same as Achimota Forest Reserve. That is it. And in fact, in the whale, no, Sir John, when he was not saying there, me was say Achimota Forest. He was giving us the location of the parcels of land he owns. And he says those parcels of land, no, Sansa Sena, and one of the companies, Dimu, Nemo Mayor, no, Diano, or say Achimota Forest. And I made sure, say, Achimota Forest, and one Achimota Forest Reserve. Because as I say, I find Achimota Forest Reserve, no, in 1927. Only 1921. And your colonial government at the time, a J, Sa Asaseno, a free, a Bushia bin Semua, or Modesi Achimota School. 1927, and Omo J, the NA, find Achimota Forest Reserve as an extension of Achimota School land. And Omo, yes, I know the Omo de Bayer Forest Reserve, and you're classifying it like that. And this assassin, the far will be Forest Reserve assassin. So this argument, they say, assassin is a forest, and a baby forest reserve, it doesn't even make grammatical sense. Because that entire land is classified as a forest reserve. And until a totally reprehensible and condemnable. Say opinion pa or none of that forestry commission or Mampenya Kufuado neighbor Wumia na pauno. Say uncle box acquire no Ghana acquire a kahobino. Obekwa sa answers no e dey na Japan na ne wawu a odi eja na wofase no ne nana no. Even wetlands I friend Ramsar size as I see nsuo tata so a we are here for any amai nyina de won sa krata say ye bebo ho ban no eno so a just ankwankwa for a e was aban penyufo si ano kwan no aban penyufo like you are no St. John mo na akwa. I think that is the gravamen of the issue at stake. But who Minister for Lands and Natural Resources statement or the aba ene say abaya ye review Ekosiisen abaya review mu say at the Lands Commission say wunya hu Achimota Forest as a CBA a war you say John Dim.
Yes.
But like you rightly pointed out, Sir John, and kind of one the womb say Sansa Sia a Achimota Forest a war no need save one be on say no dear. He jointly owns it with Yenuya Charles. Yakani nyina no. Oka say e wo Faso Limited dimu ana DML dimu ana not companies now omodi on my front to the adjacent answer. It is all correct because you may not find it. But whether it is there or not, Chromewire wants to be register the Lands Commission. So who could check a Lands Commission you will not know. And yet they have built on it for ages.
Yes.
And when I say as I say no records what Lands Commission in a much. They hear the say ministry and say as I say no abide in the status or minor edge in idea. Because in this ye peneso ma abusunya baako and then nipakuo baako efom o manager pade ekwati Ghana mra fom o manager pade nemo the minister no na was on code to us one fan to us as a political party you will issues with me say enye Sir John kwa and our form Achimota Forest asase enye Sir John kwa ne die na aba abonten yehu ne yeka. Because manso esi ne wele ho and a will na kwa kopie mu court and a dia anka eye kukuwa mu asem because obi will mu asem there always treated as a private and confidential matter. Obi unisa enti manso na abenti and I said well ya kopie court and ama we no musem ababonte. And the yehu ye kabi. But what about the rest yenim na yen any idea of? And unti we cannot just accept it hook, line, and sinker. Say, oh, Aban say, since I see I say John fire or say or the aja ne man and the warfare say no ya dinti no no. Yeah, yes, I dear. Now you do your mind, bro. I was set immediately within the shortest possible time. Yeah, audit of Achimota Forest Reserve in Saseno. Because as I said in heaven, I won't here, I was so. The minister no, any Bible penny for any pass as it should be possible in a matter of days or weeks to find out who and who are those or more quiet Achimota Forest Reserve lands. Whether they are private citizens, whether they are NPP politicians, whether they are NDC politicians, the National Democratic Congress say, Omunina was yet your Monsase, and yes, I don't want. There was a bino gens, irrespective of who is involved. Nobody should be shielded. Nobody, from the president to the vice president to ministers of state to even chief directors and civil servants to former government appointees, retired civil servants, private citizens. You're making sure, say, Forest Reserve as I say, now what go to Esikadia, what to Esika go? Because Forest Reserve as I say, you're Tom Fancy dying, you're Tom Fanny the pay. There was a good reason why here, yet of mine, a brofo no mudia, so yes, I see you a while. Young fancy dying, young for being your commercial development. The issue I am finding depends on that. You want to destroy that for your selfish interest? So yes, I have no problem whatsoever with the decision, sir. About say what just said, John. It can only be the I mean a start, but it cannot be the destination. It should only be the first of many, because in Sasia Achimota Forest Reserve, you classified as Achimota Forest Reserve in 1927, and ne Bebrewa, Ankwankre, and your Bible penny for Biwa, or Mon Ghana area. And we must not protect them. We must go.
But Sammy, the difficulty in practicalizing the position we take here as a political party would be, in my mind, would be, sir. So we follow the trajectory of events since 1921 as a ministry, in a more second statement, or by the detailed one, 10 pages, on my chronology of the event since 1927. At a point, it is obvious the Owu family enya lease for 99 years from the government of Ghana, of course, from 2013-2014, which lease Emma omo the authority to sublease into omonso den sasni bia mama nkura bebre. Are you saying as part of auditing now work omo Owu family edin sasni bi ma won ni nyina no aban kofa ne nsanto so sa na moka.
Oh, Obi, yen separate the issues, okay? Number one, there is and there is the issue of Owu family. You see, the pre-acquisition owner. The church of one anasa and you want the and Sana Kosi Bruni, Jeffrey 1927. And Timremuno, Omofatam Pata compensation. Now, whether or not government is supposed to pay compensation for the Achimota Forest Reserve land, or whether or not that compensation must go to the Owu family or another family, matters that a particular government can only give an opinion on. Only a court of competent jurisdiction and able to settle with finality Emremuno, Abusia A and Abusia B, and a right over this land, for which reason compensation should be paid to them. I am not aware of any decision from our courts that settles our issue. No, you did make a finality to it. And don't think I said we buy, one case we feed you so. Whereas governments from Kufuor, Mahama, all the way to Ene Omanpenyo Kufuor have held the opinion, say the old family known the pre-acquisition owners or more deserve compensation. You've heard other families make contrary claims, say, deserve. And in fact, there are other committee reports, okay, in history. So those issues are, and what's the investigating? I'm talking about the pre-acquisition ownership,
yes,
of that land,
yes,
and who genuinely deserve compensation. Here one. Now, when you are brought finality to that, then the question is that 2013, as part of settling the old family based on the petition they sent to the Mahama administration, which petition was a follow-up to petitions they had presented to the Kufuor administration,
yes,
and so on and so forth. Some arrangement was made for them. They 118 acres of the land. That is what was contained in the lease.
Yes.
Or in the letter from the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, that is Honorable Idris Afuseni, directing the Forestry Commission to enter into a lease with the family. And then, so even before I go to the question now is, then as 118 acres, a move free Wababe do 361.5 acres from the NDC's administration to the NPP's time. Clearly, no matter the reason you give, and so, and also require investigation, so that if at all that family deserves compensation, and we are saying that we cannot pay compensation in the form of cash, because 99% of the time, you do compensation, near the change that assassin the compensation. Why? I didn't see anything and convert the conversation into cash. And if you can't cry near, you're trying to your contract as I do
yeah, but for three governments to come to the conclusion, say, Yema wan assassin, meaning say maybe that is what they truly deserve.
If you ever say and Busiano, so what the information I have is that let's say why you're doing, and Busiano says, oh, you're crying, please, pass. But if at all they must be compensated, what are they entitled? What was the original agreement? And why has that figure kept changing over the years from 118 to 361? Doesn't make sense. We will have to get to the bottom of that matter and know that if at all this family deserve compensation, what are they entitled to? And are we going to give that compensation to them in a form of cash or in a form of land? But given Obi, what it requires, and that takes me to our final position as a political party, the NDC. The whole Achimota Forest, transactions, be it compensation in the form of land, are moving from 90 acres to 118 to 148 to 198 and so on, and never do 361.5. You put it on hold. It should be overhauled. EI 144 and on I reclassify Achimota Forest, say your forest reserve will be, it is patently unlawful. Ghana minister, any president who can say, almost immediately it declares as it is your forest reserve. That to me, the Forest Act of 1927 and the moment penny. So to me say, or the assassin forest reserve. Or also to me say, or Casa Assassin and your forest reserve will be. Name of Samrano in 2016, Parliament for your Mrafofro. I have found a Land Use and Spatial Planning Act 2016. And if you read Section 93.4, that law say assassin did the whole, including the forest. Now, a buy person was assassin original use. they can only do so with the approval of Mrashi Bebiafo. I just said Ghana Mrashi Bebiafo in Parliament Ajia to Mwansa. So that power, no, Parliament through the Land Use and Spatial Planning Act Ajia from Antony and Sim. So that EI44 now, and on our they are same way in our because reclassified 361.5 acres of the Achimota Forest land and you no longer needed as a forest reserve. No? And Rebia Papa Biantechi. Enti and yan to enye a buying every gazette assassin. Na ye hu se a forest reserve. Na owu family ni claims ni ade no. Ye ati biem ni rehwem. You come to the conclusion that they deserve compensation. This will not be the first time a buyer will be asked the compensation. But here make that final assessment and they deserve it. Now, what they are entitled to now, you bet to me, without compromising that forest, they are my. But you kind of saying, say we will continue changing because any minister for Frosoba, every 361 they do 400. You never say I was on 2,000 acres. Next, the forest reserve in Nayafani, we don't support it. And more importantly, Sir John Willie Abeya, Ghana will be a go through, including MPP4. Say, wait, dear, Abroso. Chronono is just unacceptable. No? I don't believe, Sir John Kwane guilty. They are also guilty. And I will not even be surprised if other officials of other governments are also guilty. No matter their political affiliation, they should be phased out and those lands should be seized back to the state. Sabine, yes, sir, no problem. You know, everyone has said we're protected or mining interest.
Yeah, but my substantive...
Lastly, answer our question, okay, BB said, based on the 2013 lease, Abusiana Atontons as in Libida.
Yes.
Omotons as in as what? Because 2013 lease, as you are aware, gave them 118 acres and Ameboa.
Yes.
But that land, the classification, the use of the land remained unchanged. It was still a forest reserve. And the lease, a copy of which I have, if you don't have, I can share with you, made it clear, say, they cannot sell or use the land for any other purpose. They can't use it for a purpose that is not compatible with the classification of the land and the adjoining lands. And it is a Yamawasasi lease 118 acres. And the classification of the land is forest reserve. And you are supposed to use it for eco-compatible purposes. Now, Kotoma will be the woman Messi dying or what? And now, make a hotel or what? Sasa Sani Aje. Building permit, again, I'm not here. You may need to keep that for because if you want to be Concoto as I see ya zonino as baller, now one can say residential apartments. So, are you getting my point? Mm-hmm. So, until this government came, first May, or more regards as I say, 361.5 acres and your forest reserve. Now, from Kwesi Broni Penso, Queen Elizabeth Penso, Nkrumah Pencil, Eba Besi Mahama Pencil, as I say, a forest reserve. In the no, Yamabusiani Bikra, it could have only been used for a purpose and compatible with that classification. I say the year try to reclassify and send a beya either to media dying and our commercial purposes or other purposes.
Yeah, but even in the latest,
we as a political
yeah,
party,
but even in the latest EI, Sammy, you are also aware, sir. Any future development would have to be with the consent and approval of the minister. And the minister has said, he will not approve any development running contrary to what that land should be used for.
In that thing I would say, and your forest reserve, 361.5. So I was say, I buy Adrimuno, Yede Ma Wanua, or Modiba Bedi Juma. And to me, have forest because they're a forest reserve lander. And I didn't think forest reserve. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So, EI 144 is based on the law. That Forest Act has been repealed impliedly by the Land Use and Spatial Planning Act. Minister no, any president need to me, a parliament they would to me. Withdraw that EI 144 and EI 154. Right? Then the issue of politicians like Sir John Moore, my former assassin. And yes, Sir John, wow, let's go into it.
You've made that point.
Okay. Then finally, the issue of the pre-acquisition ownership, let's bring finality to it. Na se sika ne yɛde betua mpata ye ventua se nye sika ne yɛbetumi atua ne yɛse asase a 361.5 acres aden from 90 to 361.5 aden something is wrong somewhere.
Ekosiisen on
Something is wrong somewhere. And Obi, we must look at the interest of Ghana. We must look for the interest of the people of Ghana, not the interest of any few politicians here or more selfish interest in Tino or more person. No. So I am saying that the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, his announcement relative to Sir John and Sassino is in order. Nobody can fault him. And yes, but we need proof. And yes, now still your faith because Ghana this government has a certain mentality say every scandal shall pass. Into 10 years, Sir John Sassino yaje. So we will need evidence to say yaje. And in truth, the honorable minister must make sure, Abino must make sure, say, development and then they should move further to other people almost quite be and make sure so we almost or minor. Yeah, we are pre-acquisition ownership, we can investigate court.
Very well.
Court to check compensation, do what you court.
Very well.
The compensation now, as I said, and the compensation, 90 acres. Adia 118, Adia 148, Adia 198. Now, Baby do 361.5. I don't know for your real Nkosrana. I don't know if you know my brother.
Sammy, Mamena Senior Fancy, Sammy Gyamfi, Ekasa, Emma, NDC, sharing with us the official position of the party on this whole Achimota Forest controversy.